You know, a lot of new things can be really scary and terrifying, like the new Instagram's focus on catering to the dark side of humanity, or just Instagram in general. But arpeggios can also be scary when you first think about maybe incorporating them into your playing, but they don't have to be. They're really harmless. They're like Etsy. They're harmless, right? They're not just gonna force feed you algorithmic data that takes you to a dark place. No. They're gonna help us out and make our guitar playing a little better. So today we're gonna talk about just some easy arpeggio things you can add to your chords and ease your way into that arpeggio life that we all know and love. That wholesome arpeggio life. So we're just gonna do this with some open chords everybody knows and loves, right? And we're gonna focus on major ones and minor ones. Start with C major and A minor, okay? So you all know how to play a C major chord. 3rd fret on the A string, which is a C. These notes are gonna be helpful, by the way. 2nd fret on the D string, which is an E. Open G. 1st fret, another C on the B string, open E, right? So let's talk about what an arpeggio is. An arpeggio is just playing the notes in the chord. So you could pick these one at a time. That's an arpeggio, right? If you want to do a lullaby arpeggio, you go up and down. And that sounds great, and the reason it sounds great is because I'm playing Elixir strings. Something you never have to be terrified of is your strings wearing out, because this video is sponsored by Elixir strings, and they last so much longer than any other string out there. Help me out, get yourself some Elixir strings. There's an affiliate link in the description. These are the best. Every guitar will sound better with new Elixir strings on it, all right? So, that's like your tried and true arpeggio, up and down. But what I want to focus more on are single notes to maybe take you a little higher through the neck, okay? So C, E, G, right there. We're gonna keep the first 2 locations exactly the same. There's a C and there's a E, but we're gonna play the G down here, the 5th fret on the D string, okay? So what I want this to really focus on is the relationship between these notes in an arpeggio and the intervals within them, all right? An interval is just a space between 2 notes, okay? So we're gonna talk about the intervals between all these notes in different ways. So you can think of this right here, this little diagonal move, 3A to 2D. That's a major 3rd interval, okay? There's 2 ways we can look at it. Well, there's more than 2 ways, but there's 2 main ways we can look at it. We can look at it as going down a string and back a fret, or taking a note and going 4 frets higher, okay? The exact same thing, but they're gonna have different advantages based on kind of how you're playing and how you're kind of like maybe moving through the fretboard, going to different chords, stuff like that. So if we start by playing a C major chord, we can maybe add like a little slide from that root note, the C to the E, and then I'm gonna slide to the G, okay? Now the interval between this right here is 3 frets, right? Remember we said that C to that E is a 4 fret interval? Well, from the E to the G is a 3 fret interval. This is called a minor 3rd, okay? You can just right now think of these as just almost like vocab terms. A major 3rd is gonna be 4 notes, minor 3rd is going to be 3 notes, okay? So, conceptually, that might not help us understand a lot about like the major or the minor scale, but it really helps us be able to locate all these notes really, really easily in a way you're never going to forget, right? You have a root note, you have a major 3rd, and a minor 3rd from there, and that makes a major chord, all right? So, you can play this like, here's my root note, my major 3rd diagonal, and then my minor 3rd on the same string. I could do all these on the same string. C, E, G. I don't even have to know the names of the notes that I'm playing. I just have to know where I'm starting. Let's take another one. Let's take a G chord. I'm gonna go 4 frets higher and then 3 frets higher. Okay, so a major 3rd stacked on top of a minor 3rd is gonna give you a major chord, all right? Now, a minor chord is just the inverse of that. Let's take A minor, okay? There's our arpeggio if we just play it one note at a time. But let's start on an A. Let's actually just keep it on the E string. So the 5th fret on the E string is an A. Now remember, a major 3rd and then a minor 3rd makes a major chord arpeggio. Like I said, the inverse is gonna be minor chord. So we start with a minor 3rd, 3 frets, right? And then from here, I'm gonna go 4 frets. So A, C, E. All right, if I were to play A major, it would be A, C sharp, E. So the only thing that is different between major and minor is just that third. It's either a major third or a flat 3, which is just one note back. So thinking about this really helped me understand scales and intervals and the differences between all these different things, right? Again, right now we're just doing it in a way that we just are memorizing the difference between major and minor thirds, but now let's talk about some ways that we can maybe practically apply these intervals into your playing, okay? So like I said, we're just gonna play C major to A minor, okay? So what I can do is I can start strumming a C major chord. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay, that was 2 bars of C. Maybe that second bar of C, I'm gonna explore that arpeggio shape. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4. All I'm doing is going in between those intervals that I just memorized, and maybe I could do it in rhythm. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. Okay? And now if you start incorporating stuff like that, I feel like it can spice up your chord progressions a little more. A lot of people think arpeggios are just a way to maybe play solos or practice or stuff, but you can actually really use them in rhythm guitar pretty easily. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Or maybe I can speed it up. It's just kind of like helping me understand where those other notes are, right? Now, again, that was just taking it along one string. Maybe I could get something a little closer. And then maybe just take my middle finger, which is on that major third, and slide it a minor third higher. And then maybe just take it in a way that I'm just kind of going back and forth. You know, it's something different that I can do, right? Same with the A minor. Now, our root note of an A minor, we can think of it in 2 ways. There are actually 2 A's in this chord. It's that open A string, and remember, a minor third is 3 frets higher, so if we go off the open note, we just go 3 on the A string, right? And then 4 frets higher from there, okay? Which, you may have already noticed this pattern that the C chord, we have a C and an E and a G. For that A minor, if we kind of start branching off, we have an A, a C, and an E. So I'm actually overlapping 2 of the 3 notes of each other. That's why A minor and C major are great chords to go together, because they're really similar. They actually share 2 notes. They have a C and an E. It's just, you know, the order of it that you choose to play and how you kind of choose to play it. On guitar specifically, the lowest note that you play will kind of have maybe a greater significance in the sound of it. All right? So something like that, if we just think of an A minor, and then we start the arpeggio, and then just put your ring finger there, well, there's a C major chord, right? So, and then maybe your middle finger can kind of go higher to complete that arpeggio. A minor, C, and then I'm just arpeggiating it, right? I end up on the 5th fret that we said, remember, was a minor third from the E, which is a G, which maybe that's how we transition into a G chord, okay? So there's a lot of different ways that just seeing the intervals can really kind of guide your playing and maybe kind of predict how you're going to play, where you're going to get to the next chord, stuff like that. Now, what I think is also very, very important is being able to do this in different ways, okay? So let's go back to that 5th fret on the E string. This is where that minor, A minor chord is going to exist in this key, right? And remember, we can go 3 frets higher to get to that minor third. Or what I want you to really try to remember is the down a string 2 frets back is the same thing, right? A and its minor third, A and C, or A and C. Now, really sliding into a minor third on the next highest string is very rock and roll, right? You can probably already hear a bunch of different riffs coming from that type thing, right? Fill in the blanks. A million different rock riffs have some kind of minor third built into it, right? So there's a minor third, or there's a minor third. The nice thing about going down a string is you can still get a little bit of it just sounds different when you slide into it and then get to the next string as compared to sliding and sliding again. So now different techniques kind of come into play with why you might want to switch strings to get to that next note instead of continuing on down the same string, okay? So we've got our root note, our minor third, and then now remember, like I said before, to complete that chord, now we're a major third away from the minor third. We're stacking that interval. So A, C, E. Remember, C, E, G, A, C, E. This is a great exercise to just do right there, right? You can just do a reach like this and then into the next one. You could also do different chords, B minor, C major, D major. That's a great way to really just familiarize yourself with the fretboard, but I don't want to get too far into that. I want to stick on this move right here, okay? I feel that there's a lot of utility in something like that. And now we're kind of using, some people might say, oh, that sounds like the pentatonic scale, which it is. That sounds like an arpeggio run or a riff. What I'm doing is I'm sliding into that root note, into that minor third, and then I'm just getting the next note in the key, again, which is the 5th fret on the A string, sliding into the 5th of that chord. Remember that major third away from the minor third. Making a power chord right there. And then finishing it off with the 5th fret on the D string, and then the 7th fret on the D string, which again, I'm ending at the octave of where I started. So if we were to name this, it would be like an A minor 7 arpeggio, okay? I'm playing the root note, the minor third, I'm sliding from the 4th to the 5th, and then I'm grabbing the 7th note in the minor scale, and then I'm making kind of like a new chord. A minor 7 is probably a chord that you've played before, right? Your ring finger, pick it up, that's A minor 7. Basically, you might think you're actually playing less notes, but you're really just turning an extra A into a G, just the 7th note away from A in the scale. So this move right here is a great lick builder, riff builder, however you want to do it. A lot of stuff you can do, but it's really just seeing the intervals, right? You have your root note, you have your minor third. That's kind of helping you get to that major third by cutting it in half with 2 whole steps. You have another minor third, right? And then 2 frets, and then you end up where you started, right? So stacking intervals, I think, is really important because it helps you, you'll see these like patterns and stuff kind of develop. You're like, okay, well, whatever key I'm in, I know that I can hit that minor third and then slide into the other thing, and then maybe start the whole process over again and get higher and higher up into the neck. That's why arpeggios are really important, okay? So the same is true for major chords. Really, just think of making the major third instead of back 2 frets, just back 1. All right, so root, major third. Now you can do the same thing and get that minor 7 in there. That makes a dominant 7 chord. Again, I don't want to get too far into it. This is an intro to arpeggios, but experiment by maybe mixing and matching some of the major and minor stuff, and you'll find out that a lot of these sounds are maybe sounds that you're familiar with, or you could just get creative. But it all comes down to major and minor thirds and really understanding that, okay? And again, just a third, all that means is a third note in the major scale, right? So G major, G, A, B, okay? Minor third would be a flat 3, G, A, B, flat. You can think of that as coming from the minor scale or just altering the major scale to make it flat. But understanding intervals is super important, and it's really gonna help your playing, just being able to diagnose where you're going and moving around from there, okay? So, I guess my homework assignment from you, aside from buying some Elixir strings and deleting Instagram, actually don't delete Instagram, follow me on Instagram. The hypocrisy. There's no hypocrisy in Elixir strings. These are the only acoustic strings that I use my entire life. These are the best. So thank you to Elixir for sponsoring this video. But my assignment for you, on top of that, is to take chords you already know and then just explore further down, maybe 1 string, or maybe just go 1 string higher, and then just use that major or minor action, and then try to add to your chords, and maybe add to like cool little rhythmic things that you can do. Because I think you might find that your playing gets a little spicier. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, hit me in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you later. Bye.